thank you so much for inviting me to talk about myself and my organization. I really feel privileged to speak to you guys, and thank you.
What mental health advice would you give teenagers?
As we approach 2024, there is staggering increase in number of depression in teens. More than 19% of US teenagers experience mental health problems, and what is really surprising is 60% of them go untreated, and there is an increase in number of suicides as well as every day goes by. COVID-19 and the distant learning didn't help that cause. It has made it worse, where we are very comfortable in our own homes and using technology to communicate, thus ditching interpersonal interactions and communication. First, I think you would start from really loving yourself. You have to really like yourself. You have to really feel good about yourself. Taking good care of yourself is the first aspect. A well-balanced approach to everything. Anything that we do in moderation is always going to be always good. You have to be able to manage your time well, wherein you are exercising, you are taking care of yourself, you have adequate time to finish your schoolwork, you have adequate time to browse internet or TikTok or Reels, whatever it is your chosen medium. Taking time to bond with your family and friends, because what we often forget while watching right now, everybody is so engrossed in Reels and all these quick medium of watching content. We see that everybody is happy, or everybody is going to a fancy place and everybody is happy, but what it really doesn't teach us is how can we get through difficult times. As good as technology and artificial intelligence and all these things are, teaching kids to overcome difficult times is something that I feel like is very important. That you have to bond with your family and friends. Religion is a great, spirituality and religion is a very important part. Exercise is very important. Diet, very good. Having a balanced diet is important. So all of these things lead to resilience. Resilience is a fact that helps you overcome difficult times. And there are 5 variables that improve resilience: family, friends, religion, self-care such as exercise, being able to talk to somebody, and diet and sleep. So I don't suggest that you do one thing too much. It's like being able to find time to do all these things is going to help you overcome any difficult time. Finding balance. I'm never going to say don't watch or don't indulge in social media, but moderation to go down and say hi to your dad or mom, and going for a walk with somebody, or taking your dog out, or going to the temple or church or mosque, and enjoying a music, listening to music. So I think moderation and strengthening your resilience, because difficult times is always there, and humans thrive by overcoming difficulty, which is enhanced by resilience.
Personally speaking, we are both high schoolers and come face to face with a lot of pressure and excessive homework. What are some effective coping mechanisms for dealing with stress that you could suggest?
I wouldn't be surprised if you're not stressed, right? Because if you think about it, this is a very classically explained by a very famous psychologist, Erikson, the stages of growth. As a high schooler, you're slowly coming out of dependency from your parents and family and becoming independent, right? You're about to break out and go into the world and establish your own mark. So it's extremely scary. Plus you also want to do the other things that other kids are doing and enjoy your time. So it's extremely stressful, but I think it's a really good stress that shapes you into who you become. And to be honest with you, I'll be very, very blunt. That stress is going to be there all over. We think that after college my stress will be over, after marriage my stress will be over, after kid, every corner there is going to be stress. There is going to be life is going to test you. Good advice that I would say is that I drew the inspiration from my inspiring figure called as Dr. Abdul Kalam. He was the president of India, he says that dreams transform into thoughts transform into action, and that aspect that, if you are going through tough time and stress, and I was in your shoes, I would have my friends honk in my house, in front of my house, to go partying, and I would be looking at a biochemistry book, 1,000 pages long, and I would love to go jump with them and go partying, but I would overcome that urge to go to the distraction and study a boring biochemistry by closing my eyes and looking at my dream. I wanted to do something, I wanted to be someplace. That dream enabled me to take an action, to say, no, you guys carry on, I'm going to finish my exam, or I'm going to finish my book. That actions, that thought and the action transformed into where we are right now. So how can you overcome stress is by having a goal, and those goals make those stress become very, very tolerable and attainable. Stress is always going to be there. Sometimes if it is extremely unbearable stress, physical activity can be very, very good. Taking a flight of stairs, maybe jumping a little bit, or doing jumping jacks for 5 minutes. If you're into push-ups, doing push-ups, taking a run. Sometimes if you cannot do that, I have used some strategies with my clients, is that going to the freezer and taking ice cubes and holding it for 30 seconds, so that you are focusing your sensation, your body, all your senses are focusing on holding this really cold ice, and it distracts you from whatever you're struggling with. So that's what we call in psychiatry as grounding exercises. So song, meditation, listening to music can be very soothing and relieve stress as well. Taking walks, being with nature is another really great aspect. And one thing I do want to tell high schoolers, the most important aspect about your journey is your brain. Your brain is developing. Your brain is not done wiring till you're 21. What is the most important thing for your brain during your development? Can I ask you what it is? Can you guess? Take a guess. Something you do every day.
Sleep?
Exactly. The most important thing for brain when you're growing and throughout your life is a good night's sleep, 8 hours. And I've seen my daughter, she's up till 12:30. Sometimes I have to ask her why is she up, then she goes to bed, and then she's up at 6. That's not enough for a teenager to actually, because the brain is actually forming memories and growing when you're sleeping. So sleep is very, very, very important. So if nothing, try to get a good night's sleep.
You mentioned previously that you own a company, so please tell us a little bit more about that.
When I started my career, I was an assistant professor at University of Maryland, where I mentored a lot of medical students, nursing students, social work students. So I really loved teaching, and I think especially in medical school, teaching is mostly by modeling behavior. I actually showed how I treated a patient, so the student learned how to treat a patient. So I loved being a role model to students. But when my calling came to become an entrepreneur, I quit that position, and I yearned being a teacher. So I really thought about how can I get back into teaching or influencing young minds without being in a medical school or an academic setting. So this opportunity came upon where this company was working on simulation-based learning, which is a neuroscience-based foundational aspect of how do you, like you all, I'm sure you have learned music or some instrument where without, you develop muscle memory by doing it repeatedly. So we were looking at this new trend where a lot of new edtech companies were showing videos on how to become, learn Excel or Python or whatever it is by watching. And a neuroscientist called Hebinger has shown that retention decreases every 90 minutes, and by the end of 90 days, whatever you watched or seen or heard diminished to less than 20% after 90 days. So we see a lot of youngsters coming into companies knowing that they know Python or they know Excel, but it's really not knowing Python, it's just they know exposure to it, but they don't know how to actually use it. So we really thought of bringing this, how to develop muscle memory and really make a learner confident by teaching them efficiency. And we developed the software wherein you're not just watching and learning, but you're also doing. We ask you to do control C, control V. So you're learning the commands and you're developing that keyboard, keystrokes and muscle memory or coding. So our goal is to improve more content. We want to add specifically programming based, Java, JavaScript and C++, and add more courses that has hands-on experience so that a learner gets an experiential exposure and become expert in what they do. It kind of leads to self-actualization where you are able to do what you want to do and be confident about it because you're good at it and you become efficient. So it's just something that I feel it's got a good junction of or good overlap with neuroscience and what we are going in technology and AI.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nithin Krishna, for these valuable answers to our questions.
We learned so much during this interview. We learned coping mechanisms, how to deal with stress, how to deal with mental health issues, and we also learned what valuable things that key skill set offers us. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for inviting. I hope it is useful and more than happy to help in any ways I can.